Call this meeting to order. It's now 9 o'clock. This is a regular scheduled meeting for December 13, 2022. We all please stand with do the Pledge of Allegiance. I'll do the pledge. Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Commissioner Weir, to the flag.
We salute the flag of the state of New Mexico, the symbol of perfect friendship among united cultures.
Thank you, Commissioner. You said you wanted
Just teasing.
this one to be an easy one for you.
That is.
We're on item number 4 to approve today's agenda. Is there a motion to approve?
Mr. Chairman, I'd like to make a motion to approve the agenda, but I'd like to strike item 14, an agreement for inmate confinement between Colfax County and Union County, as that agreement needs additional work.
A second on that motion?
Second.
A motion and a second. Let's do a roll call vote.
Commissioner Weir?
Yes.
Commissioner Ledoux?
Yes.
Chairman Fernandez?
Yes. Item number 5, approve regular meeting minutes for November 15, 2022. I talked to Rieta on the minutes. I don't know if the other commissioners did, but I believe they're all good.
And look good to me.
Is there a motion to approve the regular meeting minutes for November 15th?
Mr. Chairman, I'd like to make a motion to approve the regular meeting minutes for November 15th, 2022. Second.
We have a motion and a second. Roll call.
Commissioner Weir?
Yes.
Commissioner Ledoux? Yes. Chairman Fernandez?
Yes. Item number 6, recognize visitors. Susie, we'll start with you.
Susan Valdez, County Attorney's Office.
Jonah Abdallah, County Manager's Office. Danielle Allen, Manager's Office.
Alberta Vithia, Manager's Office.
Sarah Torres, Chief Deputy Clerk.
Cy Trujillo, Commissioner-elect.
Kevin Nolan, City of Raton.
Amadeo Soto, IT.
Jim Baldwin, Colfax County Road Department.
Dan Rubenich, Road Crew Department.
Gina Slade, Warden, Vehicle Number 67.
Robert Thompson, Road Superintendent. Odie Wilson, Road Department.
Tina Colangelo, Manager's Office.
Ty Beard, Road Department. Joe Garcia, Road Department. Craig Mulford, ex-Road Department.
Christy Graham, Colfax County Assessor.
Roger Smith, Colfax Gazette.
Good morning, everyone, and welcome to our meeting this morning. Just a reminder, as I do every meeting, if you have a cell phone, please mute your cell phone. And that includes the commissioners that are sitting up here.
He's talking to you.
I'll turn it on. It's too long.
Item number 7, is there any public comment from anyone out in the audience that is not on today's agenda? Robert?
Answer my assistant was supposed to be bringing, I have a gentleman here that's retiring, Odie Wilson, been here almost 46 years. He started, 75? 76, running a grader. He's been running the grader and but
No, you want me to
anyways, he started, and I remember one of the bosses telling me when Odie first started, he kind of got called out when they were letting a little kid running the grader because the old grader they couldn't see him in. So I just thought anybody who put that many years in should be recognized. 46 years in one place. I actually have a plaque for him. Glenn was supposed to bring it, so he's going to go get it. So when he gets up here, if you don't mind, I'd like to bring it up in front and show him.
Sure. You want to just wait, or?
Yeah, I think he was going right to his pickup and get it that night.
I don't know, it might be a while. I've seen him run before. Do you have anyone else that has any public comment? Aldine, did you know this was gonna happen today?
Pardon?
Did you know this was gonna happen today?
I had a suspicion. I've been around Robert long enough to, I picked up on a lot of his clues.
Hey, there's Lee. So 46 years, what are you going to do after you retire?
Pretty much whatever I want to for a while.
There you go.
Maybe while we're waiting on Glenn, we can hear a story or anecdote about, you know, the old days. Back when they used to use moles to pull the grader. No cows.
Yeah, I will say, Aldine was the first county road department employee that got the no steering, grader with no steering wheel, with the joysticks, and, of course, he got a head start on all of us, so then he got to laugh at all of us. Well, we would go out there, most people have never been around the grader, but you go from the steering wheel and interact to running everything with the joystick, and, tear up a lot of stuff sometimes, trying to learn all this new language stuff. And I'll give it to him, from going from the old knuckle buster grader into this century running joysticks. He's done a heck of a job. He's taught a lot of people a lot of things. He's a very good teacher, real patient. I've known Aldine personally since probably the mid-'80s, so I've known him for a long time. He's a heck of a nice guy.
Go ahead, Chairman.
Yeah, Robert, I think I've known him a little longer than you. I think for all you commissioners, I was just telling my fellow commissioners up here that Aldine and I went to school together in Springer. We graduated together the same year and stuff like that. So I don't know, he don't claim that, but I think, yeah, so knowing Aldine, oh gosh. Well, we graduated, what, 53 years ago? 53 years ago, so that just tells us how long we've been around, and I said, you don't look too bad for your age, buddy. I'm surprised you're leaving. What are you gonna do now?
Whatever I'm up to when I'm.
You don't have Robert to answer to anymore.
No, won't have to put up with him no more.
I think that would be reason enough to retire.
Robert, why don't you tell us where he worked and how many miles he took care of, and what else he did? While we're waiting.
He took care of the, Springer track, the Breakfast track area down at Colmer and over in Miami Lane into the Lanes area in Miami. He has, I think I figured like 75 miles that he took care of. I have had some calls with people that live out there that they're having concerns now that they've heard he's retired. Because he has taken really good care of his roads. We've all given grief. I mean, if anybody in the county had a reason to file a suit against anyone, I would say it would be Aldine, but he's got it to the good citizen word, just for being honored, not vicious, just being honored. So he's a good sport. He takes it all with a pretty good grain of salt.
When's his effective date of retirement?
The end of December, same as Wayne.
Same as Robert. They collaborated together, I think. Yeah.
It's going to, like I said, my own personal life. I've learned a lot from Aldine. He's been a good mentor for me for running equipment. And I'm sure he has a lot of other people too. So it's good to see him.
And Robert, when you advised us that you were gonna retire, I was a little bit surprised. Why don't you tell us how many years you have in the county?
I'll have about 17 3/4 years in when I go out. Just about a good time to go on, do some other things. I'm gonna miss it. I mean, it's like a big family here. For reasons I just thought it'd be best to get out. I started as a truck driver. I got hired one of my Leo Parker. Got to work with Craig Wolford. He's the one that actually brought me into the office when Leo retired. I was Craig's assistant, and then I stepped up and took Craig's position. So I gotta thank Craig for giving me the opportunity to do that.
And how long was Craig a supervisor out there? How long were you a supervisor for the road bridge?
Supervisor, actually, I think, About 8, after Kenneth Decker retired, I got his job. And then as far as, it was road superintendent at the time, and Leo retired, and I took his job. About 3 years, road superintendent,
So how many years total with the county?
18.
18?
Yeah, 18, I thought, wow, that's something else, that's a stretch to make, and then this guy puts everybody to shame. I can't imagine. 45 years at one job, amazing.
We can see that we have employees that stick around for a long time. And I'm glad to see you here, newly elected Commissioner of Trujillo. As you can see that, you know, a lot of the road and bridge, or almost all the road and bridge crews is here. I guess all of them are here. So they are a tight-knit group, and, you know, my understanding, I've been out there with them before, as I advised you many months ago that, you know, to get out there with the new road and bridge manager, you know, go out there and see exactly what these guys do. I still believe that they work very hard, and we ask a lot of them for what they do for the amount of pay that we pay them as county employees. I know we have very good benefits, but the pay is not as well, it's not as good as I think it should be. So, and I think it's best, as I said earlier, to go out there and see what these guys do all day, and 'cause they have a lot of roads. I was shocked actually when I went out there with Robert, and there's a lot of county roads that these guys have to maintain, and they've been doing a heck of a job for the amount of, you know, they keep up the roads. First of all, they make sure that these roads are clear for the bus routes. They take care of that first and foremost, but they do a lot of work out there. And, you know, they get jumped on by a lot of ranchers and a lot of people out there, but we only have so many, you know, we have a short crew for the amount of, when I compare, you know, Colfax County with Las Animas County, and that's a big county, but they have a lot of people there and they get paid well. But I always keep that in the back of my mind in the 8 years that I was a commissioner, that, you know, I always felt that, you know, this group here is, I shouldn't say special, but I think we take it for granted what they do and for the amount of money that we pay them. And I hope that the new commissioner, when they come in January, that they keep that in the back of their mind, and that they look at the fact that there's a lot of work that they have to do and to take care of them. Because to me, for employees to stick around for, as Al Dean did for 46 years, apparently the county's doing something right, other than, I don't think we ever paid him enough money. But Al Dean, I know we're waiting for a plaque or something to come up, but I've got to say this at this time, that I appreciate the 46 years that you put in with the county. I think the entire commission approves that, believes that. I think all the employees that work for the county, especially the third floor up here, I'm sure you've got to deal with them on a few occasions, but we really appreciate your time and your effort that you put in with the county, because it's not a lot of employees that stick around for 46 years. I just retired in June, and I put in 33 years, and I thought that was a long time. So for you to do 46 years, that's a lot. And I'm glad to see that you're healthy and you never got hurt or seriously hurt with the county. And so that tells me a lot about you, that you're a man of character, that you watch exactly what you do when you're running your equipment out there, because I know for a fact, working in the mines, so does Danny, working in the mines, that heavy equipment, you gotta be very careful. You can get hurt very easily or hurt someone else. And apparently you've done a great job of not getting hurt or hurting anyone else out there. So I appreciate what you've done, and congratulations on your retirement, sir.
Thank you.
Anybody else want to say anything?
What are we waiting for?
We can go on with it, I'll just come back at the end if you want.
You know, actually, I'd like to bring Eldon up, and I've got a few things to say.
I knew it was too good to be true.
You know, you talk about salaries.
I started out at 400 a month.
When he started, that's what the county paid.
Gentlemen, Robert, you have spent 17 years here as well. So I wanted to recognize your good work. So, we have this made up for you.
Thank you,
in
sir.
a card.
Thank you.
And this is a genuine, real Imperial tradesman's knife. And they don't make them anymore, they're high quality, and I hope you enjoy that.
Thank you, sir.
Best in your retirement.
Go away.
One more footstool there.
I will say about that. I've enjoyed it for the most part. I've been really enjoyed working with Robert Lynn. I've been fantastic to work with, a lot of fun. I enjoyed running the machine, but I'm not going to, it's starting to work on it very hard. I figure it's time to give it a,
There you go.
We absolutely wish you the best.
thank you.
Good. I gotta shake your hand here.
Commissioner Ledoux, can I see you real quick too?
Huh?
Can I have you come up?
Not yet, so. I'm like,
Robert,
last time I saw him was at graduation.
that was 1942.
53.
They actually remember it till
53 years ago.
53 years ago,
Commissioners, I'd also like to honor you both for your service to the citizens of Colfax County, for your ongoing integrity. And I just want you to know it has been an honor and a privilege to work with you and serve you.
Thank you.
And with that, I have a card and a plaque for you. Commissioner, money. And also, this entitles both of you to stop in at any time, free coffee forever. That's what I'll do. Here's yours.
Thank you, Mom.
You're very welcome.
I gotta tell you, Marty, I'm gonna miss a lot of people. There's a lot of people I'm not gonna miss. But for the most part, it's good fun.
Okay, and here are your two brand new. You guys enjoy
I'm telling us we need to slice our own throat. Make money.
Wow, wasn't expecting that. And let me say a few words before, while we're waiting for him to come back up. I really wasn't expecting that, Marty, I appreciate that. Knife, the card. You know, it's been 8 years. I'm gonna miss it, but you can only serve 2 terms, and I don't know. I doubt if I'll be back, so you might not have to worry for 4 years. I'm getting up in age. I'm 67, so I have other things that I'm trying to pursue. As you know, I've talked to you about it. So I'm hoping that I get involved in something else in the community, because that's what I've always done. And I've done it because I want to serve the community, serve the citizens of Raton, the Colfax County. You know, the thing about running for office is, the sad thing and the good thing is you gain friends and you gain enemies when you run for office. And it's sad, but I've lost some friends and I've gained some friends. But we do it because we want to do it, and it wasn't, to be honest with you, I didn't run for this job for the money. Not that I'm saying I'm rich or anything, but I didn't do it for the money. I done it because I wanted to run, I wanted to be a county commissioner. And I really enjoyed, everyone. It's been tough. We've gone through a lot, especially in the last 3 years. But I can tell you this with confidence. And I don't say this very often, and I've said it before, and I'm gonna say it again, because this is the last time I can do this. I know that you all are in good hands. When we picked this county manager, and not because he's sitting to my left, because I barely know mine, but I can tell you with all my heart and all my confidence that I have in this county, that he's going to do a fantastic job for this county. As I leave here at the end of December, we have one more meeting after this, I believe on the 19th. It's gonna be a special meeting. We're gonna go into executive session because there's one more thing that we have to complete. And we have to approve some minutes that we didn't get on this agenda today. But I've gotta say that anywhere in this county, I don't care if it's a jail, the jail is in very good hands. With Lauren Slater and her group, with the third floor up here, this group is great. They all know exactly what they're doing. And if I worked here as an employee, I would latch on to these employees that know exactly what they're doing because they know their job better than anyone, better than any of us. And I'm gonna tell you, when I sat in that office for 2 months, over 2 months as a temporary county manager, I learned more in those 2.5 months of what goes on in this county. Phone calls and paper-wise and paying bills and everything else. Because this commission does not micromanage the county manager. That's not our job. But I learned a lot in that position. And I can tell you that it was very difficult I was very worried on who the next county manager was going to be, because that's the person that leads this county. And I can tell you again, there is no doubt in my mind that you all are in good hands, and anyone that's listening to this on the radio, you are all in good hands, Colfax County. And I want to wish the commission that's coming in, the new commission, the best for the new year of 2023. And anything that I could do, Si, you're taking my place in that district, anything that I can do to help you, please don't hesitate to call me and ask me. Because I'll always be a county commissioner. I used to rely on, when I got in there, to be honest with you, I went to Jim, to your father-in-law, and talked to Jim. And asked him questions, because I didn't know. And he helped me out quite a bit. He answered a lot of my questions. Because when you come in here, you don't know. We're not born to be commissioners. We're not born to be board members of a hospital or city commissioners. We all have to learn this. But the only thing I ask is to learn this job with an open mind and keep the employees in the back of your mind, because I know for a fact that the employees of Colfax County make this commission and this county manager who they are today. They make us look good. So that's all I ask, is keep those people in mind, because they're the ones that are doing the work. Because that's what I believe is in the employees, and I always will, always have, and always will. So I'll shut up now because I know that we got the black here. So again, I want to thank everyone, especially for coming today to listen to what we have today in this meeting. And I have a commissioner who wants to say something.
Yeah, Mr. Chairman, I wasn't gonna do an exit speech, but since you did one, I guess I'll do one. I think, I was chairman for 3 out of the 4 years that I served on this commission, and let me tell you, this has been a really, really tough time. I mean, COVID hit us, these scheduling changes, we got hit with a lot of stuff, and I think that these employees came through. I think you got some really good employees. I wholeheartedly agree with you. I think, I can't name one, I gotta name them all. I think they've all been good. I think, of course, some have been here longer than others, so they have more experience and stuff like that, but I've enjoyed them. I've really enjoyed and I'm speaking about the county manager's office staff, those are the people that I work with the most, and of course, county clerk over here, my side hurts, my side is not gonna hurt anymore. But it's been fun, got to know Brett, damn Republican. But I got to know him, and we got to, we had some good arguments and some good discussion, but, we always did what we thought was best for the county, and I think you'll agree with that. And of course, when you have this type of a job, you're always gonna have a little bit of dissension, and a lot of people aren't always gonna agree with what we do, but you know what? What people need to remember is that these commissioners have more information than you have when they make those decisions. So you need to respect that. And I'm gonna wish them luck. They got a bunch of little innuendos and some agendas that they need to clean up and things of this nature, but I think they'll move along okay, and I wish you all the very, very best. Thank you all for your support as a county commissioner, and I look forward to going on to the next step of my life as well. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Our plaque, I just wanted to present this to Eldine, Glenn, and I, we'd like to present this to Eldine. It says, congratulations on your retirement. Presented to Eldine Wilkinson from the Colfax County Road Department for your many years of service and dedication. May your retirement be enjoyable. You will be missed.
I know I wouldn't get out of this unscathed. I have really enjoyed working with Robert. It's been a lot of fun.
All right, let's move on here. We're on item number 8, discuss and take action on improving the expenditures. For a motion,
So move.
Second.
for a motion and a second on the expenditures, do a roll call vote.
Commissioner Ware?
Yes.
Commissioner Liddell?
Yes.
Chairman Fernandez?
Yes. Item number 9, indigent care claims.
So, Mr. Chairman, I just had
Okay, so I have one this month, and it was 22-12. And we did have to deny it because their income was over our limits.
What's your question? There's nothing to approve.
You have a question, Commissioner?
There's nothing to approve, right?
No, it was a denial.
Okay, I'll make a motion that we approve the indigent care report as
Is there
presented.
a second on the motion?
second.
I just have a question.
Yes,
So when I'm looking at, not mentioning any names here, but
yes,
on the claimant's office, $12,878.
yes.
What trip is that on an ambulance? Is that?
It was actually hospital and ambulance that
Oh, it
they,
was?
that they sent in to try and get help with. It was both,
Okay.
yes.
I see it says MCMC ambulance. I was just wondering if they didn't charge $12,000 to give you a ride from Raton to the hospital, did they?
No, but it is pretty costly, the ambulance, though. But it wasn't the full 12,000.
Okay. All right. Thank you.
You're welcome.
So there's nothing to approve, so we'll move on.
Roll it in.
What, you made a motion, okay, in a second, just do a roll call.
Commissioner Ware?
Yes.
Commissioner Liddell?
Yes.
Chairman Fernandez? No, Bob.
I did.
I got you.
Okay, item number 10, discuss and take action on resolution 2022-53. This is authorizing transfer of real estate parcel to the city of Raton for construction and operation of a solar photovoltaic installation.
I'm representing Scott Berry. Just additional here for him.
Okay.
Any questions?
Just for everyone's knowledge that was not here last meeting, the city came in front of the commission here and was asking for 10 acres of land that the county owns would be behind the Lighthouse Church. south of town. They originally wanted 10 acres there because the city of Raton got a grant of almost $1 million, $980,000, to put a solar plant out there. Months ago, myself and Robert met with Scott Berry, the city manager. Monty went out there with us. We found out we couldn't put the plant there and use those 10 acres because that's where the
Santa Fe Trail.
Santa Fe Trail runs through. So now we're moving the 10 acres away from there so that they can put this plant. One of the issues and one of the, that we as a commission brought up was we're all in favor of doing that as long as the MOU or the resolution states that if there's a profit to be made with this plant, the solar plant, that the profit goes back to the ratepayers, to all of us. And that's anywhere between 3% and 5% is what they're predicting, I believe. So I was hoping that the megawatts was going to be bigger. Because my understanding when we first met, it was going to be close to 1 megawatt. It's been decreased. I don't know why, but maybe you can tell us why.
That one I can't.
Okay.
I'm sorry.
Well, Cy can tell you, he's on that advisory board of RPS.
Yeah, so it's just with everything with COVID, supply chains, everything else, the number of panels that they were able to get with the price that was granted to them is why the actual solar wattage has been decreased.
And do you foresee, as the city manager, Scott Berry stated to us that it could be between 3% and 5% possible profit for the ratepayers? I mean,
I know the biggest cost is probably going to come from transmission costs. I don't know the exact numbers like that, what you're saying, but I do see that there will be a savings because you're not, probably about half the cost we're paying is transmission costs. We're paying it from when it comes, a lot of our power comes from Colorado, so once it comes here, we're paying the transmission costs, cross-state border costs and everything else. But the thing that I like about this, it goes to the future and making Colfax County more self-sustained. You know, they currently have their generator, which will produce, like right now, probably during the winter time, 60 to 70% of the power for Raton, and then adding this photovoltaic will also increase by at least a quarter megawatt, if not more.
well, good, thanks, Cypher.
Mr. Chairman,
Yeah, go ahead.
I'd make a motion that we adopt resolution 2022-53.
Second.
Okay, we have a motion and a second to approve the resolution 2022-53. Before we vote, do you have
I just have one comment, Mr. Chairman. I do want to thank the manager for providing the red line copy of the resolution from the last time. And this was it redlined by the county attorney? Okay, that's what I thought, but I wasn't sure. Because there was some important stuff added to it. Yes.
So we have a very competent county attorney.
Yeah, so.
do you have any more?
And tomorrow there'll be an archaeologist down there walking the area where it's gonna be at, just to see if there's any artifacts or anything else that's in the way.
Okay.
So we're waiting on that tomorrow.
Right.
That's what I mean.
Appreciate that. Okay. Anything else? No?
That's it.
Any other questions, comments? Let's do a roll call vote.
Commissioner Weir?
Yes.
Commissioner Leduc?
Yes.
Chairman Fernandez?
Yes. Mr. Barry, pass it.
I will. Thank you.
Thank you. Item number 11, discuss and take action, approve professional service contract with Mason Isaacson, PA. Their motion.
Mr. Chairman, I'd like to make a motion that the commission vote to approve professional services contract for Mason and Isaacson, PA.
Second,
Second.
any questions? Let's do a roll call vote.
Commissioner Weir?
Yes.
Commissioner Leduc?
Yes.
Chairman Fernandez?
Yes. Item number 13, discuss take action, Eagle Nest Healthcare Initiative Support Letter.
Mr. Chairman.
Yes.
Let's do number 12.
Number 12? Oh, sorry, number 12. Discuss take action, the most important one. Discuss take action on the Colfax County employee salary increases.
and I'll go ahead and comment on that, Mr. Chairman. I drafted this to the commission, and it says to name a few words: steadfast, faithful, dedicated, and unwavering service to the citizens of Colfax County. I'm referring to employees that have worked for Colfax County in excess of 12 years, and their salaries have not kept up with the times. New employees are starting at much higher salaries today. A salary survey was conducted comparing data from Taos, Luna, and Colfax counties. This salary range and information has been provided to the commission for review. As county manager, I met with elected officials or department heads who supervise the employees identified. The elected official or department head decided the amount of increase within the salary range provided. I verified with the financial specialist that our budget would easily support these initiatives. I would ask the commission to join me in acknowledging our employees who have contributed to the success of Colfax County throughout the years. And that's respectfully submitted by me. And I'll just say a lot of agencies will have mission statements on the walls, and most that I've seen will state that employees are a valuable asset somewhere in that statement. My philosophy, and I believe the commission shares this, is that our employees are our most valuable asset. And as such, we need to treat them with dignity, with respect, and recognize when we have fallen behind in paying them a fair salary. And so we will continue to work on that. And I just want to thank all of Colfax County employees for the dedication, for the work, and the tremendous job that all of you do. I am very proud of all of you. And with that said, I would like the commission to work with me to recognize 12 individuals that have been working for Colfax County. Their salaries haven't kept up. And I would like to honor those individuals, and I would like you to approve this request.
Mr. Chairman,
Go ahead.
I'm not sure what we're approving. I'm looking at your chart here. You have several, figures up there, but there's no topic on it, so I have no idea what's what. I mean, the last column on the right-hand side, is that what you wanted us to approve?
What we did is, if you look at the, there's a column on the far right.
Yeah.
And if you look at the second column from that far right column to the left, these are the salary ranges, and the individuals outlined in blue on the spreadsheet are the individuals that has served over 12 years. If you look 6 columns over, you'll see the amount of time. So we have an individual here that has worked for Colfax County for 17 years, 16 years, 25 years, going down the column, 16 years, 12 years, 22 years, 15 years, 13 years, 17 years, 34 years, 18 years, and 14 years. So these individuals, we're bringing, like I said, we're starting new employees at almost the same salary that some of these employees are making. I think it is fair to bring them up. We have the finances to do it. And then once again, if you look from the second column from the right, you can kind of see the salary ranges that have been presented. And what I did is I actually sat down, there was a department head or an elected official, depending on which department of county government it was. And they are the ones that actually selected the salary out of those ranges. I hope that answers your question, sir.
Well, I get it. I mean, I'm not opposed to that. I think there was, like Lon said, that the county employees have needed to be paid more, and I'm glad you're bringing this up. glad to be a part of this. You know, and Mr. Chairman, I would make a motion that we approve these salary increases as recommended by the county manager.
I'll second that motion.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. Any questions, any comments?
Mr. Chairman, Mr. Manager, can you describe this, how you see this increase being handled on an ongoing basis? Because I guess my concern is this an ongoing program or is this a one-time increase? So for example, we have some employees that Ms. Silva, who's been here 11 years, when she reaches her 12-year number, will she be offered the same increase or type of increase? And so on. I mean, is this a program or is this a one-time? That was my only question.
This particular one is a one-time to try to catch, once again, I'm going to call it the old guard that have been faithfully serving Colfax County, and to bring them up where they are, which are more equal to even new employees coming in. So I think we need to do that. Once again, as far as continuing efforts to work with employees and continue to increase salaries, I think that's going to be an ongoing process as we continue to move forward with Colfax County. But I'm definitely an advocate for employees. And when I say employees are our most valuable asset, that's what I absolutely unequivocally believe. And I think we need to support our staff and continue to recognize good work that they do. And in this case, bring these 12 individuals that have been left behind up to standard. But we will continue to move forward with raises. Once again, depending on the budget and the revenues coming in, there's a lot to be looked at and examined. But that is a priority, I think, for me, and I think it's a priority for this board.
I agree, Mr. Chairman. One last question, if it's okay. And I assume this isn't going to kick in until after the first of the year, and that's why Aldine didn't get included in this?
Well, that's absolutely correct. Originally, we had designated 14 people for salary increases. However, we had two of those individuals have retired, and we wish them the best in retirement.
So, but this is just going forward. All this is doing is bringing people up to speed, and then going forward, everybody's going to be treated the same.
That's correct.
Is that that's the plan, right?
Commissioner Ledoux, that's exactly what we're doing.
Okay.
Any other questions? Let me make this comment. When I looked at this list 2 weeks ago, I'm a little bit more privileged because I'm here in Raton and I'm able to meet with the county manager 2 or 3 times a week. And I see these figures and I knew he was working on them, and what shocked me was when I seen one woman that works for this county who has been here for many, many years without mentioning her name. And, you know, I took this home and I divided to 2,080 hours, which this is what everybody normally works. Yes. And she's been here for how many years?
22.
20 some years.
Of 25 years.
25 years, and when I divided 2080, which is a normal work amount of hours that a person works in a year, she's at minimum wage. So that shocked the heck out of me, and I said, no, this can't happen. You know, we need to bump her up. I mean, and I hope she sticks around another 3 more years.
Oh, she is.
Because if she does, then she, you know, it's gonna be based on her retirement. And I think that's what, you know, that's what commissioners should look at, is making sure that we give the employees for their last 3 years a decent wage. Because that's what they're gonna depend on when they retire, is that last 3 years. So I'm glad to hear that she's gonna work and hopefully, health-wise, she's okay and she works another 3 years but you're right, Christie. I mean, it's poverty wages, it's minimum wage, what she's been working for, many years, and I was shocked to see that actually. And, we go through a lot of figures a lot of times to the budget and this one just caught my eye for some reason and said, wow, this is crazy.
She's the hardest worker I know.
She is. So I'm glad to see that she's on that list.
Yeah.
But I think this is something, and talking with Monty, this is something that, I gotta tell you, it shocked the heck out of me because we paid an individual, the previous county manager had paid an individual, big money to get us what Monty done in 2 weeks. And he's got a grasp on this now. So I'm convinced that we don't have to go outside and hire a contractor as we did before to try to give us a list, because I kept calling this individual out of town and paying him big money. Because he called me when I was sitting in that office saying, where's my check? I said, well, where's our list? I won't give you a check until you send us at least a partial survey of what you've done. You've sent us nothing. And he was charging us big money. He's done this in 2 weeks, so he's got a grasp on what the heck he's got to do to make sure that he takes care of the employees for the county as long as he's here. So I think to answer your question, Commissioner Weir, he's got a good grasp on what he's doing here as far as the salary range. And, I think he knows that he's got to watch this throughout the years. Come budget time, with Jonah, we're working with Jonah to make sure that that we have these individuals within that salary range, because they hang on, the employees hang on, but we're not paying them enough, and we need to look at that. So that's one of the things that I hope that, and I believe that will happen next budget time between Jonah and the county manager. They're both very concerned about that. So I believe they'll look at that and see, because we don't want to leave anybody else behind. We need to make sure that we get these people within that salary range, because someone that's been here for 25 years working for minimum wages is ridiculous. We should have employees like that. Better answer.
And I appreciate you getting this done and getting their wages up. But I also want to say that I do have employees that have been here 8, 9, 10 years and more. I hope we continue to do this moving forward with doing this moving forward.
Right. Go ahead.
That's what I was gonna ask, if you're gonna catch the rest of us up on our wages from new hire to under 12.
I think you can answer that. I think that's something that I talked to him about also. I think the commission has, is to make sure that even though he's doing this today, I think that he needs to make sure that as a county manager, that he keeps a handle on this to make sure that we don't lose any employees and that we get the other individuals up to date. Because as I said earlier, I think that's important. That's important to an employee, that the amount of wages that they make for the last 3 years, that's going to be their retirement. And I know that, one of the big issues is once you retire, you gotta pay for your health care. And there goes your pension. Then you gotta go look for another job, and that's not right in this country. I don't believe that anyone that retires should have to be paying health care and having to pay your retirement towards your health care. That's not right. There's something wrong with that picture. I've been fighting for years and years over that issue. And I can tell you that I've worked in Canada before. I worked there for 3 months. And I can tell you that I talked to a lot of Canadians, believe it or not, and they don't pay for healthcare, as you all know. It's just things are a little bit more expensive, but they don't pay a nickel for healthcare. And that rumor that you can't get a special doctor to see is false. It's something that's told to everyone that's not true. I've talked to many Canadians. They said, well, we have to see a specialist, we go see a specialist. My point being is, people in the United States should not be having to pay for their health care when they retire. You should be able to live well with your retirement, not have to pay 3/4 of your retirement for health care. Shut up and get off my soapbox. That's just the way I feel. But to answer your question, Danny, we've talked about this, because when I seen this, I said, this might cause issues here. And we need to make sure that he keeps an eye on this with Jonah. Next budget, next time the budget comes up, we need to make sure we look at that with the commissioners. I'm not gonna be here, but The new commission's gonna have to look at this and see.
I think the county manager's doing
Yes.
a salary analysis for all positions. So right now, he's just addressing the ones that are 12 years and up. But he's doing, that'll be forthcoming. I'm sure this next year will be a salary study that'll be, do all the comparatives and things of this nature, and that's when that'll be addressed.
Any other comments?
Mr. Chairman, the only thing I'd like to say, I think if y'all look at my actions and my votes and comments as a county commissioner today, hopefully you all realize that it is my philosophy, not just as a commissioner, but was as a businessman who operated businesses, that your greatest asset is your employees. And the way to retain good employees is to offer them a good package. Sometimes it's salary, sometimes it's other aspects that, maybe things that like extra vacation or whatever. I mean, but you have to have a package that your employees, it makes them want to come to work. It makes them want to do a good job, not just show up, not just collect a paycheck, but to work. And without proper motivation, it's just human nature that people don't do that. So I'm in full agreement here. I like Chairman Fernandez. Wow.
You already forgot me.
I've been trying for 2 years now.
Finally got it.
You have no idea what Chairman presides.
Like Chairman Fernandez says,
Just kidding.
I think that, that this is something that we have to continue to address. And it will be a challenge. You need to know it will be a challenge simply because of the budget limitations. We basically, the government lives on somewhat of a fixed income, right? I mean, we don't have enormous control over our primary sources of revenue. We have some input into that, but we don't have control over it. We can't make decisions that are going to, increase your revenue significantly. But to me, going forward and taking to the next commission, I can guarantee you, we will continue to address salaries. And we just have to realize that, I think when the sheriff brought us those ads that showed McDonald's, you could go to work for McDonald's in Trinidad for $17 an hour, that was kind of an eye-opener. And I think we'll continue to pursue this. I think this is a good step. I would say a second step, I guess. I think we've done some salary adjustments already to try and get so that our salaries are fair and they are incentives, but there's more work to be done. You also need to realize that with limited revenue, it's not going to be easy work. So it's not like we can just give everybody a raise. We've got to do it within the budget. I wish we could, because I think virtually everybody in the county is underpaid. That's my opinion.
We voted on that, right?
No.
We haven't voted? Oh, that's right. Let's do a roll call.
Commissioner Ware?
Yes.
Commissioner Ledoux?
Yes.
Commissioner Fernandez?
Yes. Item number 13, discuss take action on Eagle Nest Healthcare Initiative Support Letter.
So, Mr. Chairman, I think in the commissioner's docket, I have expressed to the commission the initiative in Eagle Nest in Moreno Valley to have a critical access hospital. And those words are important because that defines as a very specific type of hospital that meets certain conditions. Some of those, one is it has to be under 25 beds. It has to be at least 15 miles away from any other hospital. It has to be in a rural area. It has to service people that are considered underserved, which basically means low income, fixed income type individuals. So the Village of Eagle Nest has had an initiative to develop a critical access hospital there in Moreno Valley. In addition to that, it's not just a hospital, but their initiative also includes some housing, because housing is a big issue. So if we put a hospital there, there's a concern where the employee's gonna live. So it's both a hospital and a housing initiative. And they are going, as a matter of fact, this coming Wednesday in Cimarron, we will be meeting with our House Representative Joseph Sanchez, or the incoming Representative Joseph Sanchez. And we will, in January, we will be lobbying both the governor and the House and Senate for money in order to put that in place. And I think it's important for the future growth of that area. And as you all know, that area does provide a significant portion of the revenue that this county gets. And so if we want that area to grow, I can tell you, having been a resident there for 12 years, the number one reason that people leave is because of lack of adequate health care, having to drive, a minimum of 28 miles to Taos, and going through Taos Canyon with the weather conditions we have here is a deterrent. And I think that the county will never reach its full potential in growth without some sort of medical health facility. So I've written up a letter of support for this initiative. I think it'd be great to give this to Representative Sanchez on Wednesday, so that he can take that with him when he's petitioning his fellow representatives for appropriations funds for this. So I ask that this commission vote to approve this letter and in support of this initiative. Thank you.
Mr. Chairman?
Go ahead.
Yeah, I think that, I can support anything, especially when people want to support themselves or help themselves. I think this is a good time. I mean, the state is flush with cash, and this is a good time to be asking for this stuff, but how much are we gonna ask for? I mean, that's just
$35 million.
35 million? I will move that we support this initiative, Mr. Chairman.
Is there a second?
Second.
Okay, we have a motion, hold on a minute. We have a motion and a second, let's do a roll call vote.
Commissioner Weir?
Yes.
Commissioner Dick?
Yes.
Yes. Thank you, Brett.
Good luck. That's a lot of money.
Let me write $30 million later.
Yeah, bonds and stuff. Item 15.
Okay, item number 14 was taken off, so we're on item number 15. Thank you, Commissioner. Discuss, take action on resolution 2022-51 to adopt policy and procedures for the abandonment and vacation or closure of roads and county maintained right-of-way. As you all know, we have had two different individuals come to us wanting to vacate a road, and we didn't have a policy or procedure on how we are going to do that. So go ahead.
I did send the old one that I brought to you guys at the last meeting to our attorney, and he did do some edits to it, and we did present them to you guys, so that is what he came up with for that resolution.
Thank you for doing that.
Oh, you're welcome.
Is there a motion for resolution 2022-51?
So move.
Second. Mr. Chairman, I do have a question.
Go ahead.
Mr. Manager. Mr. Manager, I guess my only concern about this is there is statute that already dictates some requirements for this. And I don't know if this was intentional or not, but like, for example, the committee that has to review this is not defined in here to the same level that it's defined in the state statute. So in our resolution, it just says 3 or 5 people as appointed by the commission. But I think actually who those people are, there's rules in the statute that say like, some have to be affected by it, some should not be affected by it. And that was my only concern about this is, should it be more closely written to meet the requirements of the state statute?
What I can do, Commissioner, is go ahead and consult with the county attorney on that specific issue. And we'll go from there. If he needs to change some of the verbiage in there, we can make that happen.
I think that would be a good thing to do to make it clear. What I don't want to do is have a policy that conflicts with statute, or, you know, my concern is people are going to look at our policy when it comes to do something. They may not refer to the statute. They're going to look, oh, I did it per policy. And if the policy wasn't clear enough, that they may do something incorrectly, which may invalidate an action or something to that effect. I would just like, I'm all in favor of the policy. Everything else looks good. I would just like it to include the requirements that are stated in the statute.
Okay.
Any other questions or comments? Seeing none, let's do a roll call vote.
Commissioner Weir,
I'm going to vote no.
Commissioner Duda.
Well, no. Before you called for the vote, I was gonna say something, but I made the motion, I'll vote yes.
Well, yes. You can always make the changes with the attorney if we have to make the changes.
Come back.
If your issue is only the issue that the state doesn't say exactly what the requirements are on who should sit on that, either a 3-person or 5-person committee, then I think that could be done with the county commission, with the county attorney and the county manager of who needs to sit on that committee to go out there and view the actual abandonment of that road to see exactly if there's issues with it as far as any right-of-ways or if there are any utilities in the way of that abandonment of that road. So I don't know, in comparing what the state says versus what our policy says, is any different. Like I said, I talked to the city how they done it, and it was explained to me a little bit different, but I'm glad that we have a policy in place, and I'm sure it's not going to be, because we passed this today, I don't think that's gonna stop us from continuing to move forward on looking at the 2 roads. Well, actually, one road now, because the other one, we found out, does not belong to the county. And those folks have been told that. I talked to one of the landowners and explained to him, the county does not own that piece of land. You guys do what you want with it. Because the county has nothing to do with it, but anyway.
So, Mr. Chairman, I mean, I just used that one as an example of the committee.
Okay.
And I'm no lawyer, so I don't want to try and project my opinion on how the statute reads. But I also have some other concerns in relation to the statute, like if the property is worth over $25,000 and some of that, I think there might be some conflict with state statute in that as compared to this policy. So I would just urge the county manager to get with legal counsel and to determine if there needs to be changes to this as quickly as possible.
And I'm just kind of curious of what are you talking about? I just need to make sure I clarify that in my own mind. What are you talking about, a $25,000?
So in this policy, it says that if the value of the land is over $25,000, that the county, if I read it correctly, the county has the ability to charge the people that are going to receive the land for the appraised value of that land.
But we don't own the land. We don't own the roads.
Well, that's part of my concern about this matching the state statute.
Huh?
You're gonna miss that.
Mr. Chairman?
Go ahead.
Mr. Chairman.
If I could, what I would suggest is I will work with Commissioner Weir to address specific concerns that he has with the contract. And I think I can get that to the county attorney even today and hopefully get a quick resolution or answer, be able to answer those questions. And if we need to make a minor change in that, I think we can do that.
Yeah, and let me make one other comment. I think with the $25,000, and I'm not an attorney either, but I made this argument in front of the city when they were leasing the land up there at the lake. And it does say in the state statute that if there's any land that is worth more than $25,000, then you have to go in front of DFA before you approve a lease or any trade of land. And that's exactly what we have to do with the 10 acres out here. Because I can tell you it's worth more than $25,000. But as far as, I don't know if you're mixing apples and oranges here, because we're not selling or giving away a road that, because it doesn't belong to the county. So I don't know where you're coming up with this $25,000, but again, I don't want to argue the point here, but,
Yeah, Mr. Chairman, we've already discussed this and voted on this and done all this stuff, so I think they have work to do, and I would, get together and clarify the language on this and clean it up a little bit. But I agree with you. I think it's not like, we're not talking about property that we own or anything of this nature. We're just talking about vacant properties and things of this nature that they may bring up to the commission for approval and things of this nature. So we've got different scenarios, and I think those things need to be ironed out. And I strongly suggest you get together with the county manager and contact the attorney to straighten this out.
okay. All right, thank you. Item number 16, discuss, take action on resolution 2022-52, which is budget adjustments and various funds. Commission to go over the changes and,
Good morning, Commissioners, County Manager, Madam Clerk. Resolution 2022-52, budget adjustments for various funds. Increase expenditures within the commission budget, attorney fees $200,000 and professional services $50,000. Increase expenditures within the clerk's bureau of elections $13,000. Increase expenditures within the sheriff's department capital outlay vehicles $50,000. Increase revenue within the French Truck Fire Department for $32,905, and increase expense in supplies, $32,905. Increase revenue within Miami Fire Fund, $300,000, and increase expense capital outlay equipment and machinery, $300,000. Increase revenue within Farming Fire Department, $300,000, and increase expense capital outlay equipment and machinery, $300,000. Increase refunds and reimbursements revenue, Moreno Valley Fire Department, $18,000. And increase expense within Moreno Fire Wild Fund, temporary positions, $11,000. FICA regular, $1,500, FICA Medicare, $500, and supplies, $5,000. Increase revenue within rapid response wildfire reimbursements and refunds, $66,000. And increase expense, temporary positions, $10,000, FICA regular, $1,000, FICA Medicare, $200. Increase expenditures within the indigent care fund, indigent claims, VMDC, $20,000. Increase revenue within the Indian Fire Airport FAA fund, $203,843. And increase expense capital improvement airport, $322,070.23. And we'll stand for any questions.
Mr. Chairman.
go ahead.
Yeah, this is a pretty typical stuff that our auditor requires us to do, so, with respect to stay within our budget line items, and budget adjustment requests are just a real common thing that we need to do, because we're not all damn geniuses at the beginning of the year, so we don't know what we're gonna spend and not spend throughout the year. So this is just a pretty common practice that keeps us in good line with the auditor and things of this nature. So this is just some things that it's common for this board to do, and I would move that we approve this resolution.
Okay, we have a motion, is there a second?
Second.
Any questions or comments?
Yes, Mr. Chairman, I would like to ask Madam Clerk on the $13,000 for the election workers, if she could just give us a quick synopsis of why those expenses were greater than anticipated, and did we receive money from the state to compensate us?
We did, we received $19,000 for election expenses, and whatever is not spent, I'll have to reimburse back to the state. But I had to bring in our poll workers, our election worker, our absentee board to work a little longer than normal and whatnot, so.
Okay.
But it is reimbursable. The state already gave us the money, so what we'll have to do is anything that I'll go back and I'll bill them for everything that I spent for the election. And then anything in excess that I didn't meet the 19,000, then we'll have to write a check back to the state.
You're not giving yourself a bonus?
No, sir.
Okay, that's good.
I just thought it was, Mr. Chairman, I just thought it was important to kind of get that on the record because, there has been with the recent election, there has been a lot of concern about elections in the state and the country and so on. And I personally am very happy and very proud of the elections that we hold here in Colfax County. I think that the clerk's office does a great job on ours. And I know that there's a loss of confidence by the public in general on elections, but I feel great that the voters in Colfax County can feel confident in our elections. And so I actually knew the answer that Rayetta was going to say, but I wanted her to say it so I could be on the public record. So thank you.
Thank you, Commissioner Chairman Fernandez. Just wanted everybody to know we were not lucky enough, or I guess I should say, my luck ran with me that we did not get selected. None of our precincts got selected to do any type of recount. So our election is finished, and I'd like to thank my chief deputy and my staff and our poll workers for getting out to make sure that we get the elections run correctly, and of course the voters for coming out to vote with us.
I'll have a question.
Sure.
So the monies that we gave many months ago to the different villages, that $40,000 for the purpose of healthcare, have you heard back from them at all, or we've distributed the money to them, right?
No, so we submitted the applications and, the agreements, and I'm not sure what the status of the agreements is. But I believe that one of the requirements for actual distribution of the funds is for them to invoice us, and to my knowledge, we haven't received any invoices.
None of, any of them?
Not at this point, no.
I thought it was an emergency.
Yeah, so did I. I mean, I thought the whole purpose they came to us was to make sure that we gave them the $40,000 to make sure that they trained EMTs, that they were short on EMTs and they needed monies to train, possibly to, for whatever reasons. But that's what I thought. I thought it was more of an emergency that when we took that money out of the miners trust fund that's been sitting there for many, many years, and that's the only purpose for everyone's knowledge that's sitting here and listening. That's the only reason why you could use that money is for that purpose. It has to be earmarked for healthcare in some fashion.
EMS services.
I'm not sure what the status of the agreements are. I don't know if they've been signed and returned. But to my knowledge, nothing has been expended.
If I may, Mr. Chairman, I did have a visit from Chief Burke with the Raton Fire Department, and he was very thankful for the $40,000 and was looking at some guidance and stuff like that on how he would spend that. And I know he was going to give it back to the county within a short period of time on that. So that is the only communication I have, but I know he was very thankful and very appreciative to have gotten that.
So, Mr. Chairman, the intent of the money was to help support our EMS services, which were struggling to stay afloat in Colfax County, especially Springer and Eagle Nest primarily. But we wanted it throughout, and those EMS services are provided by municipal agencies, but they provide service to the unincorporated areas as well as the incorporated areas. And so since they were serving all of our citizens and they were struggling financially to sustain them, that was the argument for the $40,000. And by the way, it'll be an argument that I will put forth in the budgeting process for next year as well. Just so you know that the number 2 priority for New Mexico counties is this very thing. support of our EMS services in rural areas. When we go down in January to the legislative session, the number 2 item that we're going to be lobbying for is for the House and the Senate to develop legislation that mimics kind of what we're doing. Because in rural New Mexico, across rural New Mexico, not just Colfax County, EMS services are a huge issue. And I don't want to take a lot of time and get into why that is. There is very specific reasons as to why it is. But nonetheless, it's something that Senator Campos has tried to get through the Senate in the last 3 sessions and failed to get it out of committee. It's become such a challenge that it has become the number 2 item for New Mexico counties. And we saw it firsthand here when we lost Eagle Nest EMS services. And the bad thing is, it's not just the people in Eagle Nest, because now you have Angel Fire and you have Cimarron trying to support the people that live in Eagle Nest area. And so then they're not available to support the people they're designed to. And we have the same thing with Cimarron and Springer, when Springer has challenges even to this day with their EMS service. And so you have EMS coming from Raton and Cimarron to support Springer. So that was the reason for the money, is to help our municipalities that provide EMS services to help fund and keep those things alive, because our constituents need that. So that was the issue. I think the way that the MOU was written was a little loose this year. I think our agencies, our municipalities weren't used to MOUs that were that loose. I like the way it was written this year because it's the first year we did it, so we didn't go through a bunch of requirements on them that, we don't know what the impact of those requirements would be. I fully believe that in our next round of this, there will be more, the MOU will be tightened. Right now, the MOU basically says the same thing that the money we were holding in trust, that requirement says, is that it has to be spent on healthcare. But all of the municipalities, and I've spoken to all of them except Raton, they all understand this is to be spent on EMS services. And as a matter of fact, tonight I'm speaking at the Angel Fire council meeting so that they're going to vote on this MOU. Cimarron has already approved it. I'm not sure why, Sean, if you're saying you haven't received it, I'm not sure why that is. I know Cimarron's already approved it.
I don't know if it has been received. Those will actually go through, I believe, probably, today. So I'm not sure what she's received and what she hasn't. I just know that the invoices.
That's the purpose of that, and that's why we did that, and it's a good thing, because our EMS services need it. They're struggling.
Mr. Chairman, I don't disagree with Mr. Weir at all, but I think you asked a very good question, and I think in the future that this commission should consider, adopting a policy, asking this municipalities to give you an updated, to give you updated information on how that money is being spent, to ensure that the money is being spent the way you intended it to be. And I think I think if they want more money, they should be able to tell you how they've spent it, to justify how they're going to get more money.
Mr. Chairman, just to clarify, in the MOU, it requires 2 reports. They have a preliminary report that is due at the midpoint, and then they have a final report, and the final payout for this money is not made until they submit their second report. And that's one thing we did do in the MOU, which was we specified basically that they have to provide us, even with invoices, of how the money was spent.
Good. Okay. Call for the question.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. Let's do a roll call vote.
Commissioner Ware?
Yes.
Commissioner Leduc?
Yes.
Chairman Fernandez?
Yes.
Thank you, Jonah.
Thanks, Donna. Commissioner Dockett. Thank you, Mr. Weir. No. Go ahead.
So first of all, I just want to say that I know we've butted heads and I know we don't agree on things and politically, in some respects, we're on different ends of the spectrum. But I do appreciate working with both Chairman Fernandez and Commissioner Ledoux. Well, I almost called him Chairman Ledoux because my first year I had to do that. But, you know, this is the thing, government isn't easy. Government, you know, everybody has their own ideas about how government should operate. And as representatives, we try to consolidate those ideas from our constituents and bring them to this commission, and then we try to consolidate our ideas here. And that does cause conflict, that whole process. I think it's designed to cause conflict, and generally it's good conflict because you get different ideas, you get different concepts. And as long as you're open-minded and you listen to what other people have to say, I think you get a better result in the end. And I can say without question that even though we've had significant conflicts, that what the actions we've taken and the actions that you guys have put forward have always been in the best interest of the constituents in the county. Again, I may not have agreed with them, but I know that in your heart, that's what you believe. And that allowed me to consider those things and to think about in different ways. So I appreciate that interaction from you guys. And it actually has been a pleasure to work with you both. And I wish you both the best in your future endeavors.
Thank you. Bobby?
Coming from a Republican, that's pretty good, don't you think? No, you know, I think discussion and prolonged discussion and disagreement, I think, makes you make better decisions. I think the main thing to do is just be respectful of the people or the input that's being provided. And I think that's the relationship that Brett and I had. I mean, we didn't always agree on everything, but we did listen to one another and we talked about it, and he wouldn't budge until it made sense and I wouldn't budge until it made sense, but most of the time it made sense. And that's because we had the same focus in mind, or the same, and that is to improve the quality of life here at the county. And I think we've done that. I mean, I guess it depends on who you ask, but most of the people that I've talked to said that we've done a pretty good job and things of this nature. I think that, you know, this commission has gone through some tough times. I mean, this COVID stuff has really disrupted the whole system, not only at the county level, but the system in life in general. I mean, with respect to how they're doing it, and I see where they're having a big argument now because some of the people that were working virtually are going to be forced to go back to the office January 1st. And boy, there's some lawsuits looming on that already and things of this nature. But they forgot what it was like 3 years ago when they were at the office and didn't have the opportunity to do virtual and things of this nature. So that's going to be interesting to see how that turns out. But I think I've enjoyed working with all of our employees here, some more than others, and that's because I talked to some more than I did others. But generally speaking, I think we have some good employees. I think we leave you in good hands with Monty. I think Monty's rather new himself. I mean, he's only been here, what, 7 or 8 months. So it's not like he's a 20-year veteran and things of this nature. So he's learning as he goes as well. So he's going to need a lot of support. And I hope you guys give him that support. And I think that, you know, just from the short time that he's been our county manager, he's brought some good ideas forward, and they're well thought out and things of this nature. And, you know, that's all you can expect from your leader and things of this nature. You don't want somebody that's just going to do everything you want him to do. You want him to have his own mind, his own, you know, perspective on things. And he's done that. And I appreciate that. And I wish you guys continued success, and I hope you continue in that direction, and from what I know of you, I think that's probably gonna happen. I'm gonna miss most of you, and thank you for your support. It was nice seeing some of you, but I'm not gonna miss you enough to come back, I'll tell you that. Have fun, Merry Christmas to everybody, and a Happy New Year, thank you.
Thank you, Commissioner. So the only last parting words that I'll say, we have one more meeting, as I said earlier, I believe on the 19th, but that'll be a quick meeting. I did thank the elected officials. I want to say that to the elected official, thank you for all the work that you all do. Red, I work very close with you with the minutes, call you all the time, and if I see issues with it, we get them changed. Your staff is great to get that done so that we don't have an issue when we come to the meetings, and you guys have done a fantastic job, not only in the running elections, but overall. I think all the elected officials they know what they're doing up here, so I want to thank them all for the hard work, but especially you, Rheta, because, we work side by side every meeting, so I want to thank you for all your work and your staff, and anytime I go up there and ask questions, they answer them immediately, and so, one of the things that we have to do today, when this meeting is over, well, we're not gonna end the meeting because we actually have to go to the jail. By law, we have to take a tour of the detention center, so we'll be doing that today. We'll go through there with Warden Slater and county manager. So in saying that, also I want to thank the sheriff, because even as a commissioner, I get calls all the time on, roads, vehicles blocking roads, or whatever the issue may be. I called the sheriff's office many times to slow people down on Highway 72. It's not only because I live off of Highway 72, but there's a lot of animals crossing there. There's a lot of, there's kids that live in that area. Sometimes they think, it's a highway, and it's not. The speed limit's only 45 through there, and every time I've asked the sheriff to kind of keep an eye on that, he's done that. So I want to thank you, Sheriff, and your staff for doing that, because, like I said, anytime that I called you, you responded, and you sent people out there. If it's not for, and I never said, I want you to get people tickets, because I'm not that way, but just your presence of being there on the side of the road has slowed people down, and I think they've done a heck of a job. And last but not least, the fire department for the Colfax County has done a fantastic job. You guys, we went through some hard times with these fires, and you guys were, calling us all the time. We had a ton of meetings, resolutions that we had to get passed, to get sent down to the governor's office, to make sure that we were going to get paid, the county was going to get paid. You guys done a fantastic job, and my hat's off to you guys, because you guys put in a lot of hours. A ton of hours, Nick, so thank you also for doing that. And as I said earlier, we got some great employees here in the county, and we gotta take care of them. We gotta make sure that we don't lose any of them. And I think we have a great staff up here now, Lonnie, as I said earlier, and it's actually really nice to come up here in the last 6 months and see everybody smiling and getting along. And before I come up here, I'll tell you what, you could cut the air with a knife. And it was sad. It was sad to me as a commissioner to come up here and see that. And I don't see that anymore. I see everybody working together, the elected officials working together with the staff up here. But I also want to thank my other two fellow commissioners that I enjoyed working with you all. As we said earlier, we don't always agree with everything. And I think that's the way it should be. Because I look at a lot of meetings on Facebook, even in this town, whether it's whatever entity, and all I see is agreement the whole time. Nobody disagrees. I'm not saying we should disagree all the time, but at least bring up your comments to say, no, I don't think that's right. And I gotta say that I'm very proud of this commission, because most of the time we don't agree with each other, which I think is a good thing, because I don't think you should have a commission to agree all the time. I think you should have a little bit of an argument, a little bit of discussion. And that's where I've been, I think, as a commissioner. I think it's good. I mean, it's no difference when you're with your spouse and you're trying to, argue your side of the story or whatever. I think that's where the commission should be. I think we've done that. And I think I'm very proud that I haven't agreed with Brett and I haven't agreed with Bobby sometimes. And they know it. And they haven't agreed with me either. But we've gone along and we've done what we have to do for this county and for our constituents, as they both have said. And I gotta say, it was nice working with both of you, and I don't know. Bobby said he's not coming back. I might be back, I don't know. We'll see how Cy does. And I'm hoping he does a good job. But I'm still young enough, I think, to put in 4 more years, but I'm not saying I'm gonna do it. But I wish you the best, because I think you can do it. So I think you've got a good head on your shoulders, you're a young man, and I think your heart's in the right place. I think you'll do a good job. And I hope that makes me decide not to come back. And I hope you run another 4 years if it goes the way I think it should go for the next 4 years. And I wish you the best of luck, Si, and keep your head up, and I think you'll do a great job. So I'm looking forward to watching, either here in person or watching online, you all in the next 4 years, because I have invested 8 years in this county, and I want to make sure, whether I'm sitting in the audience or I'm sitting at home, because I make comments for other meetings. I stay very active, whether it's a city or whether it's a hospital. And I'll tell you why, because I have an investment here. I have an investment in my kids, my grandkids, and I want to make sure that we move forward, not backwards. I want to make sure that we move forward. And I think you have that right intent, Si, so I wish you the best of luck in taking my place in my district. And I think you'll take care of the district that we come from. So, having said that, Manager?
Well, I just want to address you, Mr. Chairman, and Commissioner Ledoux. And I just say it has been an honor and a privilege to work with you both. We have had some incredible challenges that a lot of counties or municipalities wouldn't have had to deal with. And I just appreciate the commission's integrity and willingness to do the right thing and uphold the public trust. And I had a sheriff years ago that was a mentor that me, and any decision we ever made, any difficult decision, he said, Monty, we have to uphold the public trust, even when it hurts. And I appreciate those words, and I live by those words. And I appreciate the fact that this commission has upheld the public trust, and you continue to do so. I also want to thank my staff. We have had pretty significant audits taking place in light of issues, and it has increased the workload, especially on the financial specialist. And she has really stepped up, in my opinion, and has exceeded a lot of expectations just to address the amount of workload that has been put upon her. So, Joan, I just want to really thank you. I don't think anybody understands how much pressure, how much work as a financial specialist that you have had to produce. And I'm certainly appreciative of all your work. With that said, I think we'll go out to the jail, and I'd like to remind Commissioner Ledoux and Chairman Fernandez to leave your knives in the car. Otherwise, Warden Slade will be on you. So please leave your knives in the car. And I am looking forward to seeing all that Regina has done out there and the improvements. And once again, I think the jail is in very capable hands, and I think we only have one opening at this point. Is that correct?
2 now.
2? Yeah. Okay. So I think we only have 2, and a lot of jails right now within the state of New Mexico are facing, I think, 50% employment challenges, where 50% of their workforce isn't there. And so I think these are significant challenges that the state has. We're very proud of the work that the state has done and the fact that we are keeping the jail manned and staffed. And with that, I think we need to go to the jail.
I think we have one more.
Hang on, Mr. Chairman, I apologize, but I didn't know we were gonna go to the jail today, and I've got a meeting that I've gotta go to, a personal meeting, so I will not be home.
Okay. Thomas?
Yeah, if I could address the commission, sorry, it's some timely information for you.
All right.
Thank you, Mr. Chair, Commissioners. Tommy Hill, Emergency Manager. So I just got off a meeting with some FEMA folks. They're initiating another program as it relates to the Ernest P. Cap Canyon fire. Part of this program is to manage a large chunk of funds that are coming into the state of Mexico as part of the fire recovery relief. This is out of the latest disaster declaration, which actually happened in August. So it's a new huge chunk of federal money coming in. The money is to be allocated towards losses, both personal, business, and public losses as well. So county governmental agencies, municipalities can apply for this program. Currently, they're setting up a January 9th public meeting for Colfax County. That'll start the doors open at 5, it'll start at 5:30. It's gonna be located at the New Mexico Bank and Trust meeting room in Angel Fire. And so this will be the first of the public comment period, public meaning both governmental agencies and public in general, including businesses. In the meantime, everyone's encouraged to actually apply through the FEMA website for notice of loss. There's no requirements for paperwork at this time. They can just apply for the loss, and then the paperwork trail will come at a later date. And again, this could be, since we weren't actually physically impacted by the fire, we aren't going to have very many private losses as far as structure losses, land losses, that sort of thing. However, any personal income that suffered as a result of this could be eligible. Business-related expenses could be eligible, including loss of business, loss of revenue as a result of evacuations and, of course, just the loss of the tourist industry, particularly over the valley, suffered heavy substantial losses. So that January 9th will be the first public meeting. They're really kind of creating this program on the fly right now. So the program's kind of halfway established at this point, but this is to get the ball rolling. So again, if you could help spread the word, and I'll be going around talking to folks as well, to first put in your claims right now. So that way you start the paperwork trail, start gathering all, pertinent information, documentation you have as a result of that. And then, of course, appreciate working with you two as you go out, and glad one of our incoming commissioners is here. So everyone is invited to that January 9th meeting.
What time is that meeting?
The doors open at 5. They're going to start the meeting at 5:30, and they actually have a huge block of time reserved for public comment. So it's not just FEMA there talking to people, but actually hearing back from people, and all that public comment is going to be gathered. They're going to compile it all, and they're actually going to offer that up as public record as well, as well as their response to that public comment along the way. So it should be a pretty good meeting. I'm looking forward to it, and that's what I have for you.
All right. Thanks, Thomas. Any questions? None? Okay.
Thank you.
Tom, thanks for attending that meeting.
Mr. Chairman, move to adjourn.
No, we can't adjourn. We're going to suspend the order of business here and move on to number 19, which is the Hill Maldonado Detention Center annual inspection. So we're going to be going over there. I'll just go over now. Let's go.
Commissioner-elect Trujillo, you are welcome and encouraged to go on that inspection.
I'll see you.
Yeah, what we'll do is we'll just adjourn the meeting out there too.